And we're back. We've got a really exciting guest, my old friend Emilio Tenuta, who is a Senior Vice President and Chief Sustainability Officer at Ecolab. And we are just delighted to be able to talk with you today, particularly about water. Tell us a little bit before we get started about your role and what you do at Ecolab.
Sure. So I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer at Ecolab, and I have, over the last 11 years, really worked on integrating our business strategy along with our sustainability strategy, all really intertwined. And we have operations around the world. So not only am I responsible for helping the company achieve their goals, but also working alongside our customers around water, climate, food, and health, mainly to help them achieve their water, nature, and climate goals.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that connection between water stewardship and effective climate action?
Absolutely. So one of the things that sometimes is forgotten is that water and climate and nature are linked. And we see this with water being a really focal point, because in many ways, when you think of water stewardship, you really focus on physical risk, regulatory risk, and reputational risk. And in many ways, the way we'll see the effects of climate change is through water, and namely the degradation of nature through wetland destruction and other factors like deforestation and other things are very much linked to water. And so if you don't have an effective water stewardship strategy, it's very difficult to have a really robust nature plan.
That's a great segue, because I know that Ecolab is working on TNFD. Now, Taskforce on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures. We're just going to try and define all of our alphabet soup today. This is a framework that's designed to help companies and financial institutions make nature-related decisions. And so the release of after much stakeholder engagement, the release of TNFD's version 1 is coming in September. Can you tell me a little bit about in your view, how business leaders need to be engaging with this and what they need to know ahead of that release from your perspective?
Absolutely, Dylan. So it's early days. Let me just say we've spent this morning talking about how TNFD is really something that we need to accelerate in a big way, even though the final framework isn't ready until September. And I guess where we are with it is, even coming out of the World Economic Forum in Davos, where biodiversity was absolutely the theme, we saw that executives really didn't have their heads around it, let alone having targets. So TNFD gives us a framework. They have a kind of a framework within a framework called LEAP, which stands for locate, evaluate, assess, and then prepare. And of course, the prepare part is the disclosure, the reporting, and the action that we take around nature. And we have been participating in the last few months in a pilot with Sustainable One from Global S&P. And in this pilot, we've achieved 2 of the 4 phases. And so under locate, we really are focused on what are the hotspots around Ecolab operations around the world, and what is the impact assessment that we see that refers to the impact that Ecolab has, out into nature. And then the dependencies, which is the second part of it, which is what is nature delivering to Ecolab and what are we dependent on, like water. Water is a critical part of our strategy as well in terms of the products that we have to make. And so it's a dependency that we have to focus on. So developing a robust water stewardship strategy is key to really beginning to prepare a strategy to actually report, disclose, and take action on nature.
Love it. Has there been anything that's surprised you about your work in this sphere?
I don't know if it's so much surprising, although we are being alerted to things like future regulatory risks. Now, for example, key biodiversity areas that have been identified by a number of international organizations that are vital to the planet's health. One of the things that we've discovered is there are some sites that we have to consider being near key biodiversity areas. So we refer to that as transitional risk, which means that we need to now start thinking about they could be regulated in the future. And so those kind of learnings, as well as, how we think about the work that we do around our own operational sites, where they're at risk because of water scarcity or too much water, or in some cases, poor quality water.
It's really exciting work. Thank you so much for joining us. Emilio Tenuta, CSO at Ecolab.